just quite not quite right about that.
Neither of those work well.
Welcome back to X-Play.
Now, recent study shows that some fanboys are scarier than others. Now, sure, we have alienated the Final Fantasy fans, and we've alienated the Pokemon fans, but why not dig ourselves in deeper by alienating the Dragon Ball Z fans?
Because they frighten us, and they write hate mail, and they criticize the way I pronounce Super Saiyan.
Five emails right there. Well, that's not going to stop us when we review Dragon Ball Z Budokai. Now, we did this originally through the PS2. That was back a couple of years ago. And now Budokai is dragging its Dragon Balls onto another platform.
Here's our review of Dragon Ball Z Budokai for the GameCube. I'm scared.
It's okay.
Look, I don't want to upset anyone out there, but I have to be honest. I don't really like Dragon Ball Z. In fact, sometimes I hate it.
How could you say that?
The story just doesn't really make any sense. It's basically for little kids, and overall, it just plain sucks. I love pissing him off.
Look at that! I got your tail.
Come on, what the hell is that?
Piccolo, do it!
And why is there so much screaming? Now, we have to review the game that wasn't very good for the PS2, and that's now not any better for the GameCube. Okay, maybe the graphics are a bit improved, but does it really matter? Other than that, Dragon Ball Z Budokai is the exact same game that we played and disliked on the PS2. There's nothing new here. For the die-hard fan, Budokai has plenty to offer. The story mode is set up to feel like you're playing through a few episodes of the Dragon Ball Z TV show.
Let's go to Namek!
The music, the voices, and the cutscenes all remain very faithful to the source material.
You big ape!
Sometimes, between agonizingly long cutscenes, they even let you pick up the controller and play very short battles. That's where the trouble starts, because this game isn't very deep. And most of all, it really isn't a very good fighting game. The variety of moves is severely limited. Lots of generic punches and kicks. Sure, there are a few special moves, but most of them are rehashed over and over between the different characters. You've seen one beam of light, you've seen them all. Unless you're devoted to Dragon Ball Z. He is playing the game, folks. Trust me. There are plenty of gameplay modes. Playing through the story modes and the tournament mode will unlock new things in the game. The most interesting of these are the skill capsules you earn and purchase while playing. These allow you to customize your character to better fit your playing style. This is a nice touch, but because the fighting feels the same no matter what skills you use, it's pretty much useless.
I'm too smart for the tricks!
Dragon Ball Z Budokai gets points for style. That alone will get legions of fans to buy this game. We think it would have been nice for the developers to have included a reasonably good fighting game, but since they didn't, we give Dragon Ball Z Budokai for the GameCube a 2 out of 5.
Forgive me, Dad.
Like sand through the hourglass of time, these are the days of our X-Play.
Yes, nothing makes time drag like a Dragon Ball Z game.
But that didn't stop us from giving Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 a high score, 4 out of 5, back in the day.
Back in the day. Now there's a new Dragon Ball game, and we're going to review it, because that's what we do. We jump on the hand grenades for you.
Here's Dragon Ball GT Transformation.
All right, Dragon Ball Z fans, let's just call a spade a spade. You don't seem to like us, and we don't seem to like you. You don't like us because we do our jobs and review all 3 billion games in the franchise honestly and justly. And we don't like you because despite our honest, well-thought-out advice, you keep buying these games. So the developers make more of them, and we have to keep reviewing them. It's a frustrating circle of life, but we play the cards we are dealt. Since we are not ones to interrupt the hellish march of evolution, we present our review of Dragon Ball GT Transformation for the GBA. The story borrows from the Judge Reinhold masterpiece Vice Versa, Sans the Fred Savage character. While hanging around a bunch of scattered Dragon Balls, our main hero is accidentally turned into a child. Now the little whippersnapper and his crew have to travel around the universe to collect all the Dragon Balls before the end of the year. If not, our heroic bundle of joy will turn into a fetus. Or the world will end. Or turn into an exploding fetus. Like we could really care about the story details. In this Final Fight style beat-em-up, you choose from a huge range of unlockable characters. While the character selection is plentiful, their menu of attack moves is not. You just use the same offense till your thumbs bleed. Sure, some of the characters have different weapons, but it still doesn't add any diversity. Hell, this little girl is accompanied by a robot. But look, it just sits there and does nothing. Get off your lazy ass, you stupid droid. The same goes for boss battles. Your battle plan consists of using your special attack on the beast, avoiding its special moves, taking time out to recharge your power meter, wash, rinse, repeat. This alien guy looks very familiar. Like I saw it in some alien movie somewhere. Can't remember the title though. Something to do with an alien. Think. On the other hand, the graphic presentation is surprisingly impressive. The game takes full advantage of the GBA's color palette, while incorporating some decent animation. But what happens when you polish a pile of crap? You get shiny crap. So, if the game sounds boring with gameplay that resembles a broken record, guess what? You're right. So, with all that being said, we are pretty confident that we'll get enough hate mail to wallpaper the Sears Tower. But you know what? Bring it on. Actually, come to think of it, this review isn't even for you, Dragon Ballers. We're just trying to help the other unbiased gamers from purchasing this stripe. Consider it a civic duty.
We now realize that we were tricked.
We give Dragon Ball GT Transformation 2 flailing bad guys out of 5.
That thing sort of looked like a lethal shrimp cocktail.
You know, the fanboys are gonna get upset about our review, but before you write the hate mail, I want you to take a deep breath and listen to us. So breathe in.
Now, regardless of what we think about Dragon Ball Z as a series, the game is not very good.
In other words, we're trying to help you by telling you to save your money for good Dragon Ball Z games, like, well, Budokai 3. That's
Right.
pretty much the only good one. But you get the point.
See, if you buy crap like GT Transformation, developers will just keep making subpar licensed games because they know that they'll sell no matter what.
So just exhale slowly and keep in mind that we're looking out for you, okay?
Okay, well, seriously though, I'm amazed people watch that stuff.
Oh, God. Here we go again. New video game franchises earn our abject distaste.
Most of the classic franchises have produced hits and misses.
But one franchise that has been almost unceasingly bad is the Dragon Ball Z series.
Yep, with its pointless button mashing and nonsensical storylines, the badness of Dragon Ball Z has earned it a reputation as the Steven Seagal of fighting games.
Here's our review of Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2.
This is for every one of my friends you've murdered.
Oh no, not again. Then the clouds opened up and God said, I hate you, Adam Sessler. Just when we thought all the anime games were left behind with the previous generation of consoles, here comes Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2 for the Wii. Dragon Ball fans hate us because these games are mediocre or worse. So the scores we give them are mediocre or worse.
I was beginning to get bored.
Not to mention we like to have a little fun with the ridiculous characters and preposterous storylines.
This is the story of those whose lives were touched by the Dragon Balls.
I really feel sorry for those who are touched by Dragon Balls. I really do. This fast-paced, arm-flailing fighter goes balls out and barrages us with so much Dragon Ball content that fanboys will let loose with something from their own balls. I'm talking about 120 characters. Every saga.
Witness the awesome power of perfection.
RPG elements. Tag team action.
Now it's my turn.
As well as the ability to instantly grow hair so you can become more powerful. It's like the hair club for Saiyans. If that's not enough to delight the denizens of the Dragon Ball demographic, then the control scheme will. Performing punches won't require you to swing your arms. Instead, all basic melee attacks are executed with the A button, and light ranged attacks with the B button. Character movement is carried out through the control stick and various motions of the nunchuck. But what is really impressive is the way that super moves are performed. For example, say you want to unleash a Kamehameha wave. While keeping the cursor on the screen, hold down B and Z, pull the nunchuck and remote back, and then push your nunchuck and remote forward. No, I don't like Dragon Ball. Even though the control layout is much better, it isn't much easier either. Performing attacks actually requires time and strategy, as opposed to the button mashing that these games are infamous for. Aside from all the flashy arm-flinging action, I must reluctantly concede that Tenkaichi 2 is one of the better-looking games for the Wii. And if you put aside a couple of hours to learn it, there's some decent fun to be had.
This is the story of those whose lives were touched by the Dragon Balls.
And please get them off my forehead, because I don't think that's my sweat. What? Budokai Tenkaichi 2 is a great example of how the Wii's dimension can make an average game better, but I still don't like Dragon Ball. Read your Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2? Oh gosh, I'm gonna do it. A 4.
Have you finally lost your mind?
Out of 5.
The Dragon Ball franchise producing quality games, it just doesn't really make any sense.
We've been spending this episode trying to raise people's awareness of the issue of boringness. While the fascinatingly challenged may face a lot of trouble, there are simple techniques they can use to seem more interesting. One such tactic is yelling, used to amazing efficacy in our next title, Dragon Ball Z Shin Budokai, Another Road.
Don't adjust your screens, it's just another in a long line of Dragon Ball Z games. Like the rest of its anime brethren, Dragon Ball Z knows how to milk every last cent from their rabid fan base, and they've decided to go back to the PSP with Dragon Ball Z Shin Budokai, Another Road. I wish I was joking about that title. Maybe hardcore fans of the show will understand it better than I do.
We can't stop Boo's resurrection on our own.
Yeah, maybe not. The Shin Budokai part indicates that this is the sequel to last year's PSP game of the similar name. Another Road would seem to indicate that it's a new Dragon Ball Z fighter, but it's pretty much the same game as before. The story is...
The finals are starting.
Well, it's about a fighting tournament. Maybe? A mother-son relationship?
I don't think I'm gonna tell Mom.
And time travel.
If we go back in time, we can ask my dad and Goku for help.
Wait, time travel? Are you serious?
A while back, I used a time machine to travel to the past.
Oh, God. Fortunately, you can quickly skip past these long cutscenes, if we can even technically call them that. But then prepare to wait for some loading screens. It's not that these screens take long, it's just that there are so many. Wait for the chapter select screen. Wait for a story cinema. Wait for the chapter select menu. Wait for the mission select menu. Wait for the mission tutorial. Wait for the mission itself. Wait for the fight that follows. Wait for the sweet release of never saying the words Dragon Ball Z again. The thing is, despite my complaints about Dragon Ball Z being a terrible, terrible show, there is a good fighting game hiding underneath it all. Especially with the wireless multiplayer game, and if you've played a recent Budokai, there will be little you need to learn. The movement controls and combo balancing have been tightened up, so there are viable tactics beyond button mash combo, finish with a great big energy blast. A good player can use a sidestep or the special defense controls and dash rings around someone who just keeps moving forward. To break up the fighting, there is a little action strategy mode that serves to link together different fights. The hero flies around protecting cities, and then he'll face down a villain one-on-one. It's kind of like how in American Ninja, the bad ninjas only attack one at a time. All in all, it's your very average Dragon Ball Z game. Fans of the show will inexplicably like the story. Fans of fighting games have a good choice for the PSP. However, it is not worth the $40 price tag. Dragon Ball Z Shin Budokai Another Road gets a 3 out of 5.
Morgan and I sometimes get a bad rap from anime fans. They think we don't like anime games.
Which isn't true. We just don't like games that suck. And coincidentally, most anime games suck.
But we do our best to approach each anime game with an open mind, so as we play it, we can come to hate anime games in new, fresh ways.
Beautiful, really. And there are always those rare gems which manage not to suck. Those are what we live for.
But we're not holding our breath.
No.
Here's our review of Super Dragon Ball Z.
Hello, everyone. Thanks to a new clause in my contract, I no longer have to review video games that start with the words Super Dragon, or Mega, or Naruto. So I'm going to leave you in the very capable hands of our very own automatic review robot 3000. Take it away, buddy.
Thank you, Adam. Super Dragon Ball Z is yet another game based on the long-running television series. In the game, you battle your way through many fights to collect Dragon Balls.
Once you have all 7 Dragon Balls, you can summon Shenron. Then he'll grant your wish.
Why don't they have an option that grants me the power to melt humans with my mind?
Okay, you've got to stay focused. Why don't you tell them about the characters?
You'll have to fight through the opponents that you see on the show, like this human and this pink fish creature. Wait, is that actually a robot woman? God, look at those angles. I would love to oil her sprockets. The things I would do with her are unimaginable.
Oh, automatic review robot 3000, you are officially creeping me out. Besides, don't you have a girlfriend?
We broke up.
Oh, really?
Sharon, what are you doing here? And why are you holding that baby?
What's the matter? Don't you recognize your own child, father?
No way. I'm not paying child support because you were too drunk to take your Depo Provera. You give female robots a bad name.
What did you say about my woman?
Who the hell are you?
This is Leroy. He knows how to treat a lady.
You are no lady.
What did you say?
Cry. See what we've done? Sadness. 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 Sadness.
Nobody talks to her.
You son of a bitch.
You're lucky I'm not
Have the balls to take me on.
Oh, for God's sake! You know what? Everyone, clear out of here. We have only 45 seconds left, and we still haven't explained how average this game is. Other installments in the series have upwards of 50 playable characters, but Super Dragon Ball Z only has 18.
Here's my true power!
On the plus side, this game absolutely nails the look and feel of the long-running anime series. Cel-shaded graphics have never fit a property quite so well, and we love the hand-lettered sound effects. Although they're faithful to the look of the show, there's tons of empty, wasted space in the level design. And the already basic combat is even simpler than ever.
Get in there, do your best!
This time, your best just isn't good enough. Super Dragon Ball Z gets...
Wait, Adam, can I read the score?
Why?
In order to qualify for the company's healthcare plan, I have to review a certain number of games each year.
I know what that's like. Go ahead.
Super Dragon Ball Z gets a 3 out of 5. All right, $10 Roxy content. Here I come.
Those robots have a lot of stuff they need to work out. Perhaps they'd clear up a lot of their emotional troubles if they just had their oil filters changed.
I blame the breakdown of the robot family on the recent Supreme Court decision allowing sentient supercomputers to marry Roombas. It's disgusting.
But first, a game we are terrified to review.
Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3.
Every time we review a Dragon Ball Z game, we get insane hate mail from the Dragon Ball Z fanboys.
But the other Budokai games have been horrible.
Yeah.
And we aren't gonna lie and tell you buy them when they suck, no matter how many times you threaten us.
Dragon Ball Z fans are the reason I have to wear Kevlar to work, and it's hard to look cute in Kevlar. Thanks a lot, fanboys.
Here's a review of Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3. It was like every other morning at X-Play. The team was hard at work. And the interns were providing invaluable support. But eventually, I discovered that something had gone horribly wrong.
Hey, player, what's up?
Hey, Shane.
All right, what the hell is going on here?
I had my suspicions. I've never liked Dragon Ball, and neither has anyone else on staff. But all this screaming could only mean one thing. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 was in the house. And it was taking over. As much as I wanted to avoid it, knowing the enemy is the first step towards defeating it. And what a surprise it is. This game is good. Yes, I said it. It's good. Never has a game captured the over-the-top rumbles, needlessly long posturing,
I'll smash you to a million pieces,
and downright silly dialogue that make the cartoon such a hit. And it's about time. Up to this point, Atari's treatment of this license to print money has been like tossing a filet mignon in the microwave. But not this time. In Budokai 3, the fighting system is as visceral as the animated series. There's a staggering number of ways to turn your opponent into a skid mark. One new addition is the teleportation move, which lets you get the drop on opponents. Another amendment is the beam struggle, where two fighters perform projectile attacks at the same time and must quickly spin their analog sticks to land a blow. The entire game is governed by the Kai meter. As you land blows, it builds until you've reached the ability to perform the biggest move in the game, the Dragon Rush. But even this is balanced out by a rock, paper, scissors system that allows your opponent to block the attack. Budokai 3 also contains one of the best story modes in any fighter. It involves rocketing around an overmap looking for opponents and Dragon Balls. As you win battles, you can upgrade your fighter in a number of categories. And you'll need all the help you can get, because grabbing balls isn't as easy as it sounds. Huh. Maybe that's why the X-Play crew won't stop screaming.
Hey, Carson, how was the weekend?
Yeah!
All right, here's this little ball grabber. I'm gonna pinch your berries and mean you to f***.
There are 6 different characters to play the story mode with, and each one has its own plot to provide for plenty of replay value. The reward for completing each character's story is more fighters to use in the robust head-to-head modes. I never thought I'd say it, but Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 is a winner. It's so good that you may find yourself influenced by its charms.
Yeah!
You give it a 4 out of 5.
And the screaming went on all day long.
See? Did you see that, fanboys? When they make a good Dragon Ball Z game, you have no problem giving it a good score.
Yeah, now why not send us some friendly email now that we've lavished praise on your big-headed anime god?
But first, Dragon Ball Z.
If you've watched the show at all, you know that it doesn't matter what we say about the game. Unless we give it a 5 out of 5, the Dragon Ball fans will hate us.
So here's a review of Dragon Ball Z Sagas.
Years ago, a child of the monstrous Saiyan race was sent across the galaxy to Earth on a mission of destruction.
It seemed like a couple of months ago when we last left Goku and little Goku. This green guy, and Potsy, Ralph Mouth, Richie, and the Fonz. Those were happy days. If you're not familiar with the Dragon Ball Z series, don't worry your pretty little head about it. Dragon Ball Z Saga moves you from stage to stage with slapped-together montages from the cartoon series. With so much blonde hair and screaming, it's a lot like watching the Children of the Corn's home movies. Unlike the Budokai series, Saga desperately tries to be the adventurous little brother by adding in similar elements and then falling flat on his face every step of the way. Capsules that let you design characters' abilities are back. This is only true if you take out the word design and insert something that means giving characters the most basic of moves, like throwing. Oh, I know. How about not sucking? From what little I know about Goku, you can fly through the sky, shoot fireballs out of your hands, but a simple slope can stop you dead in your tracks. I must have missed that Dragon Ball Z episode. Attack of the Retarded Level Designers. Speaking of flying, previous games let you take your battle to the skies. Saga seems to think that 6 feet is perfectly fine. Reach! Damn you! For God's sake, you can beat the snot out of aliens, but reaching up a foot is too much. So just who is your biggest foe in this game? Is it this alien guy or this other alien guy? Try a static camera that screws with your locking system. Out of sight means out of range in this game. The floods of redundant enemies, however, don't seem to have that problem. Speaking of redundancy, let's talk about the characters. They're all the same. Goku plays like little Goku, who plays like evil Goku, who plays like mutant Goku. Even the bosses have the same moves. I must have forgotten to TiVo the episode where everyone learns the same moves. Cutting and pasting is fun. With everything wrong with this game, the chugging graphics, the occasional clipping, Dragon Ball Z Saga wouldn't make for a bad side game. But it's not. This is it. All of it. And there's a 2-player option. Now you can make other people suffer the same way you have. After watching so many cutscenes, I decided to make my own.
Upon my screen, it did appear, one of the worst of the year. A sequel will come, I do fear, and they call it Dragon Ball Z Saga. The cartoon story was a cheap device. The kiddie fans they would entice. I would rather have head lice, and they call it Dragon Ball Z Saga. The level design was all poor. With the fighting, we wished for more. 2 out of 5 was its miserable score. And they called it Dragon Ball Z Saga.
Okay, we said it sucks. We're not gonna lie to you to avoid the poorly spelled hate mail.
So bring it on, fanboys. Bring it on. And for the love of God, use spell check. But first, Dragon Ball Z.
If you've watched the show at all, you know that it doesn't matter what we say about the game. Unless we give it a 5 out of 5, the Dragon Ball fans will hate us.
So here's a review of Dragon Ball Z Sagas.
Years ago, a child of the monstrous Saiyan race was sent across the galaxy to Earth on a mission of destruction.
It seemed like a couple of months ago when we last left Goku and little Goku. This green guy, and Potsy, Ralph Mouth, Richie, and the Fonz. Those were happy days. If you're not familiar with the Dragon Ball Z series, don't worry your pretty little head about it. Dragon Ball Z Saga moves you from stage to stage with slapped-together montages from the cartoon series. With so much blonde hair and screaming, it's a lot like watching the Children of the Corn's home movies. Unlike the Budokai series, Saga desperately tries to be the adventurous little brother by adding in similar elements and then falling flat on its face every step of the way. Capsules that let you design characters' abilities are back. This is only true if you take out the word design and insert something that means giving characters the most basic of moves, like throwing. Oh, I know. How about not sucking? From what little I know about Goku, you can fly through the sky, shoot fireballs out of your hands, but a simple slope can stop you dead in your tracks. I must have missed that Dragon Ball Z episode. Attack of the Retarded Level Designers. Speaking of flying, previous games let you take your battle to the skies. Saga seems to think that 6 feet is perfectly fine. Reach! Damn you! For God's sake, you can beat the snot out of aliens, but reaching up a foot is too much. So just who is your biggest foe in this game? Is it this alien guy or this other alien guy? Try a static camera that screws with your locking system. Out of sight means out of range in this game. The floods of redundant enemies, however, don't seem to have that problem. Speaking of redundancy, let's talk about the characters. They're all the same. Goku plays like little Goku, who plays like evil Goku, who plays like mutant Goku. Even the bosses have the same moves. I must have forgotten to TiVo the episode where everyone learns the same moves. Cutting and pasting is fun. With everything wrong with this game, the chugging graphics, the occasional clipping, Dragon Ball Z Saga wouldn't make for a bad side game. But it's not. This is it. All of it. And there's a 2-player option. Now you can make other people suffer the same way you have. After watching so many cutscenes, I decided to make my own.
Upon my screen, it did appear, one of the worst of the year. A sequel will come, I do fear, and they call it Dragon Ball Z Saga. The cartoon story was a cheap device. The kiddie fans they would entice. I would rather have head lice, and they call it Dragon Ball Z Saga. The level design was all poor. With the fighting, we wished for more. 2 out of 5 was its miserable score, and they called it Dragon Ball Z Saga.
Okay, we said it sucks. We're not gonna lie to you to avoid the poorly spelled hate mail.
So bring it on, fanboys. Bring it on. And for the love of God, you spell check.